Have you ever wondered what truly happens when you choose to walk away from someone? Not just the immediate fallout, but the deep, transformative journey the other person embarks upon in your absence. Walking away isn't simply an act of leaving. It's a profound decision that sends shockwaves through the lives of those you leave behind. In this video, we're going to explore what your absence triggers in them, how it reshapes their inner world, and why this process, though painful, can be a catalyst for their growth and transformation. Imagine this. One moment you're the central figure in their story, and the next you've disappeared. What happens when the threads you held together begin to unravel? Does the void you leave become a mirror that forces them to look within? Or does it stir a longing and appreciation for what they had, now that it's gone? This journey will take us through 10 profound changes that your absence can create for the person left behind. From the initial shock of loss to the ultimate realization of their own independence, we'll dive into every stage with the timeless wisdom of Stoicism as our guide. Stick with me until the end, where we'll uncover the most empowering transformation this journey can offer, not just for them, but perhaps for you as well. Let's begin with the very first ripple you create, the initial shock, a moment that shakes their foundation and sets everything else into motion. 1. The initial shock. When you walk away, the first thing they feel is a jolt, a disorienting wave of emotion that sweeps through their lives. This is more than sadness, it's confusion, disbelief, and a sudden sense of instability. Humans are creatures of habit, and your absence disrupts the rhythm they've grown accustomed to. It's like removing a crucial piece from a machine, everything else struggles to function without it. Why does this shock hit so deeply? Because we often take the constants in our lives for granted. Think about the sun rising each day. You don't question it, nor do you truly appreciate it, until the clouds block its light. So when you leave, they're forced to confront the unshakable truth. The life they knew is no longer the same. Stoicism teaches us to focus only on what we can control, yet most people rely heavily on external sources for stability. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. For the person left behind, your departure forces them to grapple with the things they cannot control. Your absence, their loss, and the disarray that follows. Initially, they might resist this reality. They might try to fill the gap you left with distractions, denial, or even anger. But beneath it all is a raw vulnerability, a recognition that their dependency on your presence may have been greater than they ever admitted. Have you ever been in a situation where losing something or someone felt like losing a part of yourself? How did you cope with that realization? This initial shock, though painful, is a necessary disruption. Much like a storm clearing away old debris, it creates the space for something new to emerge. The question is, what will they choose to fill this space with? Will they linger in the chaos, or will they begin the process of rebuilding? As this shock settles, something remarkable begins to unfold. They start to realize the true value of what they've lost. Let's explore how this realization takes shape and why it's such a pivotal moment in their journey. 2. Loss aversion and realization of value. As the initial shock begins to settle, something profound happens. They start to recognize the true value of what they've lost. At first, they may have dismissed your absence, brushing it off as temporary or inconsequential. But as the days turn into weeks, the weight of the void becomes undeniable. This shift is not merely emotional, it's psychological, rooted in a concept called loss aversion. Psychologists tell us that humans fear losing what they have more than they enjoy gaining something new. In simpler terms, the absence of what was once constant and reliable often feels far worse than the joy that presence once provided. For the person you've left behind, this realization can be both enlightening and humbling. Have you ever experienced this? Have you taken something for granted only to see its true worth after it was gone? Your contributions, the laughter you shared, the stability you offered, even the small, everyday moments become glaringly evident. What was once overlooked or undervalued is now missed with a sharpness they didn't anticipate. Perhaps they begin to replay conversations, revisiting decisions they made, wondering if they could have done something differently. Stoicism offers a powerful lens here. Epictetus wisely said, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." This lesson often emerges for those left behind, a newfound gratitude for what they had, even if it's too late to change the outcome. This period of realization is often accompanied by regret. They may wish they had expressed more appreciation for your presence or taken the time to nurture the connection they now see slipping through their fingers. Regret is a heavy burden, but it's also a motivator. It pushes them to reassess their actions and how they approach their relationships moving forward. For you, this is a reminder of your intrinsic value. Walking away isn't about punishment or playing games. It's a declaration of self-worth. By stepping back, you give both yourself and the other person the chance to reflect, to grow, and to uncover truths that were obscured by complacency. So, let me ask you, have you ever walked away from someone and seen them come to appreciate your absence more than your presence? Or have you been the one left behind, suddenly recognizing the significance of someone you lost? Share your experiences in the comments below. Let's create a space for reflection and growth together. If this resonates with you, don't forget to like this video. It's a small way to let us know that these insights matter to you. Your likes and comments help us continue exploring topics like these with the depth and wisdom they deserve. Next, we'll delve into what happens after this stage of realization, the powerful period of self-reflection that follows. Stick with me as we continue unraveling the effects of walking away. 3. Self-reflection triggered by loss. Once the initial shock subsides and the realization of value takes hold, a deeper and more transformative process begins. Self-reflection. For the person you left behind, this is often the most challenging yet rewarding phase. It's where they start to ask questions, not just about you and the relationship, but about themselves. So why did things unfold the way they did? What role did they play in the dynamic? Were there signs they ignored or patterns they perpetuated? These questions swirl around in their mind, pushing them into uncharted emotional territory. It's not an easy journey. Facing oneself rarely is. Self-reflection often begins with an emotional inventory. They might revisit memories of the relationship, trying to understand moments of joy, tension, or disconnect. Perhaps they see things more clearly now, the times they could have been kinder, the opportunities to express gratitude that slipped by, or the ways they prioritized other distractions over the connection. This reflection can be bittersweet, a mix of fond recollection and painful regret. Stoicism offers a guiding principle here. As long as you live, keep learning how to live, said Seneca. So this phase of introspection is exactly that, a lesson in living better, understanding oneself, and preparing for a future built on greater self-awareness. But this isn't just about them reliving the past, it's about peeling back the layers of their own identity. They begin to see how much of their behavior was reactive, shaped by fears, insecurities, or a need for control. They might even discover that their reliance on you was a crutch, one that allowed them to avoid facing deeper personal issues. Think of this as a mirror that your absence holds up to them. Without you there, they are forced to confront the reflection of who they are without the influence of the relationship. But are they happy with what they see? Are there aspects of themselves they now feel compelled to change? This stage isn't only about uncovering flaws or regrets, it's also about rediscovering strengths. In the process of examining their role in the relationship, they may find areas of resilience they hadn't acknowledged before. Perhaps they handled conflicts better than they thought, or maybe they showed loyalty and patience that they can carry into other areas of their life. Self-reflection is not always kind, but it is always enlightening. Much like walking through a dense forest, the path can feel overwhelming, but the clarity at the other side is worth the journey. As they delve deeper into this process, they may begin to notice how these insights start to shape their actions. It's a slow transformation, but an essential one. And as this introspection unfolds, another shift begins to take place. The seeds of emotional maturity are planted. Let's explore how this self-reflection naturally leads to a more refined and balanced emotional state in the next phase of their journey. 4. Emotional maturation. After the self-reflection phase takes root, the person you left behind begins to experience something deeper. Emotional maturation. This is the point where raw, unfiltered emotions like anger, sadness, or regret begin to transform into something more refined. It's not that the pain vanishes, rather it evolves into a catalyst for growth and resilience. What does emotional maturation look like? It's the ability to navigate one's emotions with greater self-awareness and control. Instead of reacting impulsively or clinging to the past, they begin to understand the transient nature of feelings. They learn that while emotions are valid, they don't have to dictate every action. This shift is powerful. It marks the moment they begin steering the ship of their own life rather than being tossed around by the waves. But how does this process start? It often begins with a realization they can survive without you. For what once seemed impossible, living without your presence or support becomes a reality they grow accustomed to. This doesn't mean they no longer care, rather it signifies their ability to stand on their own 2 feet. Imagine someone riding a tandem bike alone. At first it feels awkward and unbalanced, but over time they learn to ride solo with confidence. Stoicism provides timeless wisdom here. Seneca teaches, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Emotional maturation involves letting go of the craving for what is lost and embracing what remains. For the person you left behind, this means finding contentment within themselves rather than searching for it in external sources. This growth also involves accepting the complexity of relationships. They begin to see that no connection is perfect, nor is it solely defined by its ending. Instead of fixating on what went wrong, they start to appreciate the lessons and beauty the relationship brought into their life. Have you ever looked back on a difficult experience and realized how much it taught you, even if it was painful? That's the essence of emotional maturity, seeing the value in both joy and hardship. Another hallmark of this phase is the development of emotional balance. The highs and lows of their initial reaction start to level out, replaced by a steadier sense of calm. They might still feel the pang of loss, but it no longer consumes them. Instead, they learn to coexist with the pain, understanding that it's a natural part of the healing process. This transformation isn't linear, it takes time and effort. Some days they might feel strong and self-assured, while other days bring doubt and longing. But over time, the peaks and valleys smooth into a more sustainable emotional landscape. What makes this stage so profound is its lasting impact. Emotional maturation doesn't just help them move past their relationship, it shapes how they approach all future connections. They become more empathetic, more thoughtful, and better equipped to handle conflict and change. As they grow through this process, another transformation begins to take hold, a newfound empathy for others. Let's explore how this emotional growth enhances their capacity to connect with the world around them. 5. Increased empathy. One of the most unexpected outcomes of your absence is their growth in empathy. As they navigate the emotional journey triggered by your departure, they begin to understand pain, longing, and reflection in ways they might never have before. This newfound understanding deepens their ability to connect with others, making them more compassionate and emotionally aware. Why does this happen? When we experience loss, we're forced to confront our own vulnerability. This vulnerability breaks down barriers, allowing us to see and feel the struggles of others more clearly. For the person left behind, your absence becomes a lesson in shared humanity. They start to recognize that just as they felt abandoned or overlooked, so have others in their life. Marcus Aurelius captures this beautifully in his Stoic writings. What injures the hive injures the bee. So interconnectedness becomes apparent to them as they reflect on the ripple effects of their own actions or inactions in relationships. And think of it this way. Have you ever been through a difficult time and afterward found yourself more attuned to the emotions of others? Perhaps you noticed sadness in a friend you might have missed before, or became more patient with someone struggling. This is what empathy born from adversity looks like. For the person you left behind, this means they may begin to approach their relationships differently. They might show more appreciation for the people in their life, recognizing how fleeting connections can be. They may also become more attuned to the needs and feelings of others, ensuring that the mistakes or oversights they made with you aren't repeated. But empathy isn't just about others, it's also about themselves. They start to treat their own emotions with more kindness and understanding. Instead of harshly criticizing their reactions or regretting their choices, they learn to accept their flaws and missteps as part of being human. This self-compassion lays the foundation for healthier, more authentic relationships moving forward. So let me ask you, have you ever gone through a loss that made you more empathetic, more aware of the struggles and emotions of others? How did it change the way you connect with those around you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your experiences can inspire others to reflect on their own journeys of growth. If this resonates with you, take a moment to like this video. Your support helps us explore these transformative topics through the lens of Stoicism and human connection. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to join our community of thoughtful individuals navigating life's challenges together. Next, we'll explore another profound change triggered by your absence, how it strengthens their independence and reshapes their understanding of self-reliance. Stay with me for this empowering insight. 6. Strengthened independence. As the person you left behind moves through the phases of shock, realization, reflection, and emotional growth, another transformation begins to take hold. A newfound independence. This is perhaps one of the most empowering outcomes of your absence. So without the safety net of your presence, they are forced to rely on themselves in ways they may have avoided before. At first, this can feel like being thrown into deep water without a life preserver. It's disorienting and frightening. They might stumble, falter, or even resent the need to stand on their own. But as time passes, something remarkable happens. They begin to adapt. This is where Stoicism offers profound guidance. Seneca reminds us it is not because things are difficult that we do not dare, it is because we do not dare that they are difficult. For the person left behind, daring to navigate life alone becomes an act of courage, transforming what once seemed impossible into a new reality. How does this independence manifest? It starts with small victories. They may handle tasks they once relied on you for, making decisions, solving problems, or simply facing the quiet moments of solitude without fear. Each small success builds confidence, and with it a sense of pride in their own capabilities. As their independence grows, they begin to reshape their identity. No longer defined by the role they played in the relationship, they start to see themselves as whole and self-sufficient. This isn't about rejecting connection or relationships. It's about understanding that their worth and happiness don't depend on another person's presence. Imagine someone who has always leaned on a sturdy crutch. When the crutch is taken away, the first steps are wobbly and uncertain. But over time, their legs grow stronger, and they discover they can walk and even run on their own. This strengthened independence often leads to a deeper sense of freedom. Without the constraints of relying on someone else, they gain the confidence to pursue their goals, try new things, and take risks they might have avoided before. It's as if the boundaries of their world expand, allowing them to explore paths they hadn't considered. However, this journey isn't without challenges. Independence can feel isolating at times, and they may still long for the comfort and familiarity you provided. But as they continue to grow, these feelings become less about dependency and more about appreciation. They learn to value connection as a choice, not a need. In this phase, they come to embody another key teaching of Stoicism, the power of self-reliance. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Look well into yourself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if you will always look there." By tapping into this inner strength, they discover a resilience that carries them through not just this loss, but future challenges as well. As they embrace their independence, they also begin to reevaluate their priorities. What truly matters to them? What goals and values will they center their life around moving forward? Let's explore how this reevaluation shapes the next stage of their journey. 7. Realigning priorities. With their independence taking root, the person you left behind begins to reevaluate their life. This phase is marked by a significant shift in how they view their time, energy, and relationships. The process of realigning priorities isn't simply about cutting away the old, it's about creating a life that feels purposeful and authentic. That your absence serves as a catalyst for this change. It forces them to step back and examine the routines, commitments, and connections that shape their world. Were those things truly aligned with their values? Or were they simply going through the motions, caught up in habits that no longer serve them? This process often begins with tough questions. What really matters? What brings joy and fulfillment? So what or who deserves their attention? These questions are not easy to answer, but they are necessary. As Stoicism teaches, clarity comes from stripping away what is unnecessary. Seneca wisely said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." This insight reminds them to focus on quality over quantity in every aspect of life. One of the most profound changes during this stage is how they approach relationships. They may realize that some connections were draining or unbalanced, taking more than they gave. Your departure highlights the importance of reciprocity and mutual respect in relationships. Moving forward, they prioritize bonds that uplift and inspire them, letting go of those that no longer align with their growth. This realignment extends beyond relationships. Career paths, personal goals, and even daily habits come under scrutiny. Perhaps they recognize that their job, while secure, lacks meaning. Or maybe they notice that their time has been consumed by obligations that don't align with their passions. Your absence becomes a mirror, reflecting areas of their life that need change. Realigning priorities also involves embracing simplicity. By letting go of what no longer serves them, they make room for what truly matters. It's like decluttering a home. Removing the excess allows the remaining pieces to shine. This newfound focus gives them a sense of clarity and direction that might have been missing before. But this shift isn't just about removing the old, it's also about welcoming the new. They may discover passions or interests they had previously neglected. Perhaps they take up a hobby, pursue a long-held dream, or invest more time in their personal growth. These pursuits become a source of joy and fulfillment, anchoring them in a life that feels more aligned with their values. Through this process, they also develop a deeper sense of gratitude. They begin to appreciate the things and people that truly enrich their life, no longer taking them for granted. This gratitude doesn't erase the pain of your absence, but it helps them focus on the positive aspects of their journey. As their priorities shift and their life becomes more intentional, they are better prepared to embrace the future. So the realignment creates a strong foundation for personal growth, allowing them to move forward with clarity and purpose. And with this clarity comes resilience, a strength forged through adversity that propels them toward a more empowered version of themselves. Let's explore how they harness this strength and turn challenges into opportunities for growth. 8. Growth through adversity. Adversity has a way of shaping us, doesn't it? It's like fire refining gold, painful, transformative, but ultimately revealing the strength we didn't know we possessed. For the person you left behind, your departure becomes a trial by fire. They are faced with challenges they never anticipated, yet it is through these very trials that their most profound growth occurs. And when you walk away, you remove the safety net they may have leaned on. At first, this feels like a loss of balance, as though the ground beneath them has shifted. But as they navigate this unsteady terrain, they begin to uncover hidden reservoirs of resilience. They learn they can adapt, endure, and even thrive in the face of difficulty. Stoicism views adversity as an opportunity. Seneca famously said, "Fire is the test of gold, adversity of strong men." For those left behind, your absence is the spark that ignites this process. It pushes them to confront their fears, to rise above their insecurities, and to forge a stronger, more capable version of themselves. Consider this. Have you ever faced a situation that felt overwhelming at first but ultimately made you stronger? Perhaps it was a loss, a failure, or an unexpected challenge. In hindsight, didn't that experience teach you something invaluable about your own strength? That's what's happening to them now. As they grow through adversity, they begin to reframe their perspective. Instead of seeing your departure as an insurmountable loss, they start to view it as a turning point, a moment that, though painful, set them on a path toward greater independence and self-awareness. This growth often manifests in tangible ways. Perhaps they take on responsibilities they once avoided, discovering new skills or talents in the process. Or maybe they set boundaries they hadn't before, learning to protect their time and energy. Each challenge they face becomes a stepping stone, building their confidence and resilience. There's also an emotional growth that takes place. They begin to accept that pain is a natural part of life, not something to fear or avoid. This acceptance helps them approach future challenges with greater composure and clarity. Instead of resisting adversity, they learn to embrace it as an integral part of their journey. And while this growth is deeply personal, it often inspires others as well. By overcoming their struggles, they become a source of strength and encouragement for those around them. Have you ever been inspired by someone who turned their challenges into triumphs? Imagine the person you left behind becoming that example for someone else. So let me ask you, have you ever grown through adversity? What lessons did it teach you about your own resilience? Share your story in the comments below. Your insights can help others recognize the value in their struggles and inspire them to keep moving forward. If this resonates with you, consider liking this video. It lets us know that these discussions about growth, pain, and transformation through the lens of Stoicism are meaningful to you. And if you haven't already, subscribe to join our community as we continue exploring these life-changing topics together. Next, we'll dive into how this newfound strength and resilience influences their empathy and deepens their connections with others. Stay with me as we uncover the transformative power of compassion born from adversity. 9. Renewed sense of purpose. As the person you left behind journeys through self-reflection, independence, and growth, they reach a pivotal point: the discovery of a renewed sense of purpose. This transformation isn't immediate, it's born from the quiet moments of introspection, the triumphs over challenges, and the gradual realization that they are capable of creating meaning in their life without relying on the structure the relationship once provided. At first, your departure may have left them feeling adrift, like a ship without a compass. But as they navigate through the stages of loss, they begin to see their life as a blank canvas full of possibility. This renewed sense of purpose often starts with small realizations. They may rediscover hobbies, passions, or dreams that have been set aside. Or they might notice areas in their life, career, health, relationships that could benefit from more intentional focus. Stoicism beautifully encapsulates this process. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is not what we have, but how we use it that defines our greatness." For the person you left behind, this means recognizing that while the relationship may be gone, the lessons, memories, and personal growth it inspired remain. These elements become tools they can use to build a more purposeful future. This renewed sense of purpose often involves reimagining their identity. Who are they now, apart from the relationship? What do they want to achieve, experience, or contribute? These questions help them shift from a mindset of loss to one of possibility. The relationship's end no longer feels like a closed door, but an open gateway to new opportunities. Imagine a garden that has been overrun by weeds. Clearing it is a daunting task, but once the work is done, the space is ready for new seeds to be planted. This is what a renewed sense of purpose feels like: an opportunity to start fresh, to cultivate a life that aligns with their true values and desires. For some, this purpose might take the form of personal growth, learning a new skill, pursuing a career change, or focusing on physical and mental well-being. For others, it might involve reconnecting with their community, building meaningful relationships, or dedicating themselves to causes they care about. Now, what's remarkable is how this renewed purpose often extends beyond themselves. They may find joy in helping others, inspired by their own journey of resilience and transformation. Having faced loss and grown from it, they understand the value of connection, empathy, and support, and they seek to bring these qualities into their interactions with the world. The beauty of this phase lies in its openness. Purpose is not a fixed destination, but a dynamic journey, constantly evolving as they grow and learn. Confidence they've built through adversity empowers them to pursue this purpose with clarity and determination. Sense of purpose doesn't erase the memory of what was lost. It integrates it, turning it into a source of strength and motivation. So they carry the relationship's lessons forward, not as a burden, but as a foundation for a life lived with greater intention. As they embrace this new chapter, they also begin to find closure. The pain of the past softens, making way for the excitement of what's to come. Let's explore this final step, how closure paves the way for new beginnings and completes their journey of transformation. 10. Closure and new beginnings. The journey of the person you left behind culminates in one of the most profound stages, closure and the embrace of new beginnings. Closure is not about forgetting the past or erasing the pain. It's about finding peace with what happened and allowing themselves to move forward with clarity and hope. At first, closure may seem elusive. The relationship might feel like an unresolved chapter, with lingering questions or emotions that demand attention. But through the phases of shock, reflection, growth, and renewed purpose, they begin to see the relationship for what it truly was, a part of their story but not the entirety of it. Seneca reminds us, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. This wisdom speaks to the heart of closure, recognizing that endings are not failures but transitions. For the person you left behind, this means understanding that your departure was not the end of their narrative, but the start of a new chapter, one that they have the power to write. What does closure look like? It's the quiet acceptance of the past without resentment or longing. It's the ability to reflect on the relationship with gratitude for the lessons it taught and the growth it inspired. They may even come to appreciate your decision to walk away, seeing it as a necessary step for both of you to grow in different directions. This acceptance allows them to embrace new beginnings with open arms. With the weight of unresolved emotions lifted, they feel free to explore new relationships, opportunities, and experiences. So the world feels expansive again, full of possibilities that were once overshadowed by the pain of loss. Imagine standing on a shoreline, watching the tide carry away the remnants of an old sandcastle. At first, there's a pang of sadness as the familiar structure disappears. But soon you realize the beach is wide open, ready for you to build something new, something even more beautiful. For some, this new beginning might mean finding love again, with a deeper understanding of what they want and need in a relationship. For others, it could involve pursuing a long-held dream, traveling to new places, or simply embracing the joy of living in the present. This phase is also marked by a sense of empowerment. Having faced and overcome the challenges of loss, they emerge stronger, wiser, and more self-assured. They no longer feel defined by the relationship or the pain it caused. Instead, they see themselves as the author of their own story, capable of creating a life that aligns with their values and aspirations. Closure doesn't mean the relationship is forgotten. The memories remain, but they no longer carry the same weight. So instead, they become a part of their history, a chapter that shaped them, but one they have now turned the page on. As they step into this new phase of life, they carry the lessons of their journey with them. They understand the importance of resilience, the value of independence, and the beauty of self-discovery. Most importantly, they know that every ending is an opportunity for growth, transformation, and renewal. As we reach the end of this journey, let's take a moment to reflect on everything we've uncovered. Walking away isn't just a choice, it's a profound act that ripples through the life of the person you leave behind. From the initial shock of your absence to their eventual transformation, your departure triggers a process of introspection, growth, and renewal. We've seen how they confront their vulnerabilities, rediscover their strengths, and ultimately emerge as a more resilient and self-aware version of themselves. This journey, while challenging, is one of the most powerful ways we grow as human beings. It's a testament to the Stoic belief that adversity is not a curse but a crucible, a chance to refine our character and align ourselves with our true values. But let's not forget, this process isn't limited to the person left behind. If you've ever chosen to walk away, you've likely felt the echoes of this transformation in your own life. The act of prioritizing your peace and self-worth isn't selfish, it's necessary. It's a declaration that you will not sacrifice your virtue or well-being for the comfort of the familiar. So what can we take from this? Whether you've been the one to walk away or the one left behind, remember this. Endings are never just endings. They're transitions, opportunities to shed what no longer serves you and step into a more authentic and empowered version of yourself. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you been through a similar journey, whether as the one who walked away or the one who stayed? How did it shape you? Share your story in the comments below. Your insights could be the very thing someone else needs to hear today. If you found this discussion meaningful, consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Your support allows us to continue exploring these deeply human experiences through the lens of Stoicism and shared wisdom. And if this video resonated with you, share it with someone who might benefit from these reflections. Thank you for joining me on this journey. As you move forward, may you find the strength to embrace change, the courage to prioritize your values, and the wisdom to see every ending as the beginning of something new. Here's to your growth, your peace, and your purpose. Until next time, take care and stay true to yourself.